Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 39 of Fehr the Burn, all you brokies out there. Today, we got Drew Nelson.
Pretty face, cold heart, whipping in a Rover. Take her out to dinner, got the chicken with the coleslaw. Lies that I told her, love you but it's over. Need to be alone, but baby, maybe when we're older. Life ain't a science game, my thoughts over sirens. Instead of putting out fires, I might just lie into violence. I need some love for a liar, I had to ask the Messiah that he don't look on the weekend to turn this wine into water. Sometimes I wish I never told you the things in my head. I'm sorry I can never hold you. The day that I left, I'm sick of looking for the old you. Cause she disappeared, so I don't really ride with no one the rest of the year. Toxic like the liquor that she drinking just to medicate. I thought I ran the game and then she hit me with the
Yes! Drew is here, baby. I was just talking to you about our weird-ass neighbors.
Yeah.
Who were just keep this thing kind of close to your face, like probably about
right up here.
Yeah, baby,
coming through.
Dude, we fucking. I got this hot tea. Be careful.
Yeah, well, that's
dude.
not bad.
Minute into the podcast, we're all good. I was telling you about our neighbors, and he asked me for a cigarette. The guy next to us, and then like 2 weeks later, after I gave him a cigarette, he like knocks on our door, and I open it, and he goes, "Hey, can I get your guys' Wi-Fi password?" Like, I'm always needing Wi-Fi, and so we just would like it. And I like kind of panicked in the moment, and I was like, I don't know, man. He pays for the Wi-Fi, you know, like just saying like Dave pays for it. And I was like, so I'll have to put it in his name, which is not true. Like I've always paid all of the Wi-Fi and all of the electric and all of the gas.
Live here, yeah.
But so he was like, oh, okay, man, and then continues like a week later, knocks on our door. Hey, can I get a cigarette? No. You know?
Yeah.
Fucking 3 weeks later, he goes, he knocks on our door, and I had just gotten my bike. And I was like starting to ride my bike to work and stuff. And so he knocks on my door and goes, hey, do you have any bike helmets? And I was like,
my man's just robbing you.
I was like, no, dude, you know what I mean? Like you give him one cigarette and he's like,
now it's everything.
It's jail mentality, bro.
Jail.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
now
you give
you're his bitch.
Yep.
And you just give him whatever he wants, whenever he wants.
So, dude, he fucking a month before Dave left, he knocks on our door. We hear, dude, and I get up, dude. Dave's sitting in this chair right over here, the fucking love seat, and I'm sitting here, and I go over to the door, look at the people. Sure as shit, it's Josiah. Now, let me also preface this. And I'm going to move this real quick. Sometimes he would knock on our door like this. Right? Like the fucking cops.
Right.
Like he would like bang, 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 like into our shit. And I'm like, don't do this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're not a cop, bro.
So I look through the window and I go, if this motherfucker knocks one more time, I'm going to take all my clothes off. And I'm gonna fucking open the door. He knocks again, dude. I take all my clothes off. I don't even tell David.
Right.
I take all my clothes off, and Dave just starts laughing, dude.
Yeah.
Starts laughing, dude. And I go, if he knocks again, he's gonna get it. Luckily, dude, he just walks away. He was standing there for like 5 minutes, but he walks away, right? So all right. So I put all my clothes on, came back over here, started
get the flashlight guy
chilling with Dave. Fucking 5 minutes later, dude.
He comes back.
I get up so quick, dude. I take off all of my shit, and Dave runs into the hallway, bro. And I open this door like this. And he looks at me, dude, and he goes, hey, oh my God, do you have a cigarette that I can borrow? And I went,
like you still need this shit.
Yeah. Like, but he's so stunned that he has no idea.
Right.
Like, he has to go with what he was going to go
Obviously,
with.
yeah.
So I go, no, dude, I don't. You trying to fuck?
You say that to him.
Yeah, so you trying to fuck?
Okay.
And he goes, no. So quick, dude, so quick. He's like, no. And I go, okay, dude, well, you're just like always knocking on my door, and I have no idea, like.
What if he said yes?
I'd have to fuck him.
You have to fuck him.
I'd have to fuck him. Yeah, and I don't want to fuck this kid, dude. He definitely has pizza face. Like, I don't want to fuck him. So, he hasn't knocked on my door since, though. Solved my own problem.
Easy.
Solve my own problem. Fuck yeah. Drew fucking wiped his lip and then
You
high-fived
went
me.
for it. You
I
didn't
did.
pull away.
I couldn't, dude. I couldn't.
could've.
No, I couldn't because I'm a comedian. I have to double down on everything.
Okay, that's fair. I respect
I
that.
had to answer the door naked, bro.
Right.
And I had to fucking touch your gross ass hand.
Thanks. Not washing them, by the way. Not gonna go get up and wash my hands because of that.
I don't care. It's a podcast, baby. So Drew, you're back.
I'm back.
You're living
back
in
Boise.
Living in Washington for a little bit.
I was, about a year. I was AmeriCorps.
Dude, were you living there for a year?
No, not a full year.
I think you left at the end of last year,
At
right?
the end of October.
Yeah.
So November was my first full month. So November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July.
Yeah,
9 months.
Yeah, you beat me by 2. I
Yeah.
was out there for 7.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, nice.
I beat you by 2, but I was only contractually obligated to beat you by 2.
Oh, because you were on your
I was
contract.
I was supposed to be there until today. Actually, today was supposed to be my last day because my contract ran through July. But there was a point when I was just like, "Hey, man, I'm not doing goddamn jack shit." Like I was working like 3 days a week, 3 hours a day, putting on my time card that I was working like the full 8 hours, 5 days a week. So I was like, "Look, if we're just gonna lie about the amount of hours I'm getting anyway, can I just be done?" And she was essentially like, "Yeah." So,
She's like, yeah, fuck
so
it.
I came home like 2 weeks early. And my mom wanted me home last weekend because we were doing the Boise Bike Bar, where you go and you get drunk and you like bike around the town,
Which should be illegal.
big, long
Which
thing.
should be illegal.
And the guy's driving it, you know.
Okay.
And he's
not
sober.
drunk.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And you guys are only going like,
We're all powering the engine basically.
and
for
you're
this
going
thing.
2 miles an hour.
Oh yeah, we're not going fast.
That thing is so
You
hard
could-
to pedal,
you
bro.
could walk next to that thing. You know, like for sure. I thought about like getting off and like running around it.
The Boise Bike Bar
'Cause I was
Parade, bro.
Drunk as fuck.
Yeah.
While I was on it, but you basically just bar hop. You go, where do you want to go? Here. Okay, so we went to Hannah's, we went to Pengilli's, we went to I don't know where the fuck else. I've only been out to those bars like 3 times, but it
Oh,
was
you actually
fun.
go into the bar.
Yeah, you like bar hop, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so the bike itself doesn't have a bar on it, even though it's called like a bike bar. I guess it used to have alcohol.
That's when I went when I was super young. Dude. I was like
Yeah.
14. My
Yeah.
parents were drinking and shit.
I guess the current mayor didn't like that they served alcohol on the bike
Because it's illegal.
because it's illegal. Right. It's not like that guy has a liquor license.
Yeah.
He just has a long ass bike, you know?
And a lot of liquor.
And well, sure.
Yeah.
Anybody can get a lot of liquor.
Facts.
But I guess the current mayor like hates the bike bar. And so he prevented it from you can drink alcohol on it.
I think it's a lady.
So now it's I don't fucking know.
She sucks though. She hates freedom, bro. So
Yeah.
I don't.
It's a red state. What can you do?
No, dude, she hates fucking freedom, dude. The Boise mayor, that bitch is a communist, dude. Trying to make us wear masks downtown. Are you kidding
Heaven
me?
forbid.
Are you kidding me?
Fuck that bitch.
And she wants to keep the goddamn homeless people safe. Come on, man.
Yeah, let's just kill him, right?
Yeah, that's
Do
what
what
I'm
Joe
saying.
Rogan said,
Starve them.
and just point the gun at him.
Bang, 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 bang,
No,
bang.
you can't starve him.
Well, I'm down for whatever.
No, 'cause
whatever
they'll
Joe
start
Rogan
eating
says.
each other.
Whatever Joe Rogan says, Drew.
We have to follow.
We have to.
He's our god.
Look at your haircut.
We're 2 men on a podcast right now. He's our god.
We'll gun down all those homeless fucking people, man. Joe Rogan.
We are going to murder them.
I wonder if Joe
Every
Rogan said
last
that
one.
shit for real. He probably did.
He
joking
did.
around. Really?
A couple weeks ago,
Just joking.
him and some other comedian
Yeah.
were talking about the homelessness in LA.
Amazing.
And Rogan, jokingly, obviously, was like, "Yo, let's just kill them all."
Yeah.
And then everyone's up in arms. Oh, he doesn't know about the systemic issues that lead up to the homelessness. Like he's so uncultured and unaware. Obviously, he's making a joke. He's not advocating for murder.
Yeah, dude, but those people are getting it from CNN. When
Right.
CNN is like, and on the Joe Rogan experience, Joe Rogan said, and quote, we should
Exactly.
gun down all of
Yeah.
those homeless fuckers.
Yeah, completely out of context.
Yeah.
You know.
Different tone.
Anti-comedian, obviously, you know. But at the same time, I get where you have an audience as big as him, 50 million, however many people listen to that thing every week. I understand the need to like be really careful about what you say, and I understand how frustrating that could probably be as a comedian.
Yeah.
You know?
The thing about Rogan, though, that I mean, you know, you don't know how people are off of podcasts and how they actually are in real life, but, like, he really seems like he doesn't give a fuck. And he's even said, like, if everyone's going to be hanging on my every word, I'm not going to do the podcast. Like, he said that. He's like, I don't care how big the audience is. Like, if you're going to be... Because, dude, that guy has fuck you money. He has serious fuck you money.
And it's because of the fuck you money that he can do all this shit.
Yeah.
Because he knows people are going to still listen to him anyway. And, like, that's kind of this new internet age that we're going into where it's like, if you build an audience, that audience respects you. It doesn't matter if you kill babies on stream, you know? Because, like, that audience is always going to respect you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So unless they explicitly get banned, then you're always going to have the
if you can continue putting out the content.
Yeah, exactly. You know?
Because I was going to bring up, like, Logan Paul.
Yeah.
With a
guy who hasn't been canceled.
He did, though. I think Logan Paul, like, started cancel culture.
Okay,
I think
can see that.
With the Japan thing, like, when they were like, you are off of YouTube, motherfucker. Like, no. Like, all of your shit, you're done.
Well, he's back on YouTube now, though. That's my point, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he had the audience. He had the money to be like... And, you know, he did change, you know, as a person. He shifted his content. He doesn't make shit for 14-year-old boys anymore. And personally, I think content like that should be illegal because of how clickbaity and I don't know. I'm just making a joke. I don't think that
I don't know what you're
actually
saying.
Illegal, but it's like
what kind of content?
There's such a power in young audiences, you know? Like kids content on YouTube is the biggest content, and there's a lot of regulations that have tried to prevent like this predatory advertisement culture towards kids. But how do you stop that when these creators are just always going to be taking brand deals? There's nothing that's going to stop them from taking brand deals.
And the brands want to sponsor them because they get fucking 15 million views.
80 billion views. Yeah, exactly. And so it's this like self-defeating spiral of, okay, we want to make kids content like good and educational or whatever, but that's not how we monetize kids content. How we monetize kids content is we just get their attention and we hold their attention and we maintain their attention, and you don't do that through educational content. You do that through this spastic sort of
style.
Yeah.
The Logan Paul every day.
XD random. Yeah. All the time. Always yelling. Loud. That's how you keep the... Yeah.
Or even for our generation, like when we were younger, I feel like even like ASDF movies.
Yeah,
was the beginning of
like
that.
An Annoying Orange, you know?
Annoying Orange,
a very good example of content that was widely viewed by young audiences. That was not educational and hardly even funny, you know?
Bro, did you ever watch Annoying Orange?
Yeah, all the fucking time.
I feel like that was just a couple of years maybe after me. I definitely remember it. What did Annoying Orange's voice sound like? Do you remember?
Oh, God, I don't... It was just nasally. It was just like... hey,
Wait.
Apple. Hey, Apple. Hey. Hey, Apple. That was like his saying.
And Apple smoking a joint like,
what the fuck do you want, man?
Get the fuck out, Orange.
It'd probably be funny to watch like an episode or two, but like to think that was the style where it's just like constantly berating you with nothingness. ASDF movie in the same way, you know?
Dude, who do you think had the most annoying voice ever as like an internet sensation?
Oh, God.
Do you think like Annoying Orange has to be up there?
Well, see, there's Annoying Orange and there's Fred, right? The other
that's
guy
another person I was thinking of. Fred's iconic for that.
But yeah, that was like his thing, you know? And you saw him outside of the Fred persona, and he was just like a dude, you know?
And he hated Fred, right? Like at the end, he was like, I fucking hate
I don't know,
doing
probably.
these videos.
Most artists hate their most popular creation, you know?
Fair.
I bet Dan Harmon is getting real sick of Rick and Morty right about now, but that's just such a money machine, you know? He's trapped forever. He's never going to escape Rick.
Yeah.
You know?
He's never going to escape that culture, man. Just druggies all around him all the time. It's always being like, this is Dan Harmon. Either that or just drunk guys. I don't know anything about Rick and Morty. I remember we watched the Pickle Rick episode. That's the first episode I ever watched of Rick and Morty. Mm-hmm. You showed me.
That's one of the best episodes.
Dude, it's really fucking good.
However meme-ified and, you know, off the rails it actually was, it was a good episode.
Yeah. Is the first episode ever the one about the Gazorpazorps? I think I've seen that episode a million
I
times.
can't remember what the first episode is about. But it took them a couple seasons to like find their footing, you know? The first couple seasons is like eh. And I think the series as a whole has a lot of ups and downs, but they've hit their stride. I'm excited for season 6, like next month.
Nice.
2 months from now. Yeah.
Do you think it'll ever stop? Or do you think
No.
it's going to be like a Family Guy where it's like you're into...
I think yeah, definitely.
Mm.
Because it's like Family Guy, but where Family Guy leans into the stupid, Rick and Morty is stupid, but it masquerades as intellectual, you know? So you have the same people that are watching both shows, Family Guy, whereas Family Guy is overtly dumb. Rick and Morty is dumb, but it makes people think that they're smart.
Right.
Because they watch it, you know?
Because they're like, there's this guy, and he's a mad genius.
He's a scientist.
And he goes into different dimensions.
He invented math and stuff. It's crazy, bro.
Dude, but adult cartoons are for idiots.
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's why I watch them.
Yeah,
you know?
same, you know?
What are the 4 most iconic, like what's like the Mount Rushmore of adult cartoons, you think?
Well,
Not
I
even
think
just
Rick
the
and
ones...
Morty is on there.
Not even
for
just the ones
sure.
you watch, though. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, just like overall.
Yeah. The Mount Rushmore of adult cartoons. Well,
Dude,
The
you're
Simpsons,
getting... Hold on.
Family Guy.
You are getting so crazy with the mic, Drew. You're fucking doing this shit.
I don't know what to tell you.
And nobody's going to hear you if you're using it like a magic wand from Harry Potter,
If you
dude.
if you give me a mic stand, then you cannot complain.
Well, the thing with the mic stand is...
You have a mic stand.
I do, but the thing with the mic stand is that if you touch the mic at all, it's going to make noise, just so you know.
Okay.
So you can either hold it like this.
This is your problem.
It's your fucking problem.
It's
that
not
you
my
can't, that
problem.
you
It's
can't
not my
hold a
podcast.
mic, right? You can't hold a
It's
mic,
not my
right?
podcast.
No, it's your problem.
It's not my
It's
problem.
not my problem.
It's your problem.
Let's rock, paper, scissors about it and see whose problem it is.
It doesn't make any sense. You're
It
the one
does.
complaining about it.
It does. No, I'm complaining, Drew, because it's the listeners who are gonna get pissed.
The listeners.
Yeah, all 10
So
of them.
It's the listeners' problem.
It might be the
I
listeners'
think
problem.
it is the listeners' problem in that case.
Yeah, if you want to, you can move this however you want.
I like this.
Sorry, we've done comedy together, so I presumed that. I mean, I guess.
Yeah, but you've also seen me do comedy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You do any comedy?
Not a lot of consistency in that either.
You do a lot of comedy out in Washington?
No. Whatever. I'm just gonna. Shitty ass mic stand.
Shitty ass mics,
Episode 37. Where's the budget?
dude, we had one, and then my podcast host was like, "Yeah, I got to do other things," and then still hasn't put out that thing. So,
Damn.
Cougar, looks like you got to get
Looking
on
at you,
it, bro.
Cougar.
You got to get on
Yeah.
it, bro. The impact of one, more like the impact of none, baby. Yeah, I saw you did a set though when you were out.
In Portland.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It
How was
fun.
that?
I bombed.
Nice,
I bombed
dude.
like hell, yeah.
Fuck yeah.
It was sick. Yeah, I did terribly. That was my first time doing comedy at all over this last year. So I was just super out of practice. I went up there with my 3 decent jokes and
Right.
and maybe a new joke or something. And I was also second or third. And nobody had really shown up yet. I didn't realize that until after people started coming in. I was like, "Oh damn. If I went 14th or 15th, I could have had a real audience." And by the end of the night, the energy was so good too. It was hard to bomb by the end of the night. I didn't do the worst though. Dude, I wish I could remember specific jokes because there were some guys that just yeah, I remember this one guy. He went on a little bit after me, and he was before the show, he was reading it in his journal, clearly going over his material, and he was laughing a lot to himself. And he goes up and he just does terribly.
I love that, bro.
And it's he didn't have any fun telling those jokes either. But before the show, he was practically in tears at this material,
just dying
at
his own self. Oh my god.
Yeah, that was funny.
Was he a tall guy? Here's what I imagine
Sure.
this guy looks like. I imagine he's tall
Okay.
and has long hair.
Nope.
Like a gross.
No, bald,
Gross. Bald. Oh no.
old guy.
Old guy.
Yeah, yeah, 40s or 50s.
Flannel.
He's definitely done this before.
Yeah. Dude, that's always the worst. When you have someone who's like 40 or 50 and you know they've been doing comedy for like 20 years and they've just been at the one spot and they get up and they're just...
And they're not funny.
Terrible.
They're just not funny.
Do you remember... Okay, I don't want to talk too much shit because like I also haven't done comedy in a couple of months now.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
get out of practice.
January was
it's
the last time
over.
that I was on stage.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm hoping to kind of revitalize that when I move to Pocatello. There's a couple like open mics out there, not necessarily for comedy.
Yeah.
But I'm like, fuck it, dude. Like, I'll go and
Yeah.
I'll do some jokes. Like, you
Yeah,
know.
that's cool.
So, I might go to some mics out here if you're interested or want to even just like tag along. I want to kind of get back on.
Yeah, I'm down.
On the.
I'd like to. I like doing it for fun. I don't think I'm really gonna start taking it seriously anytime soon. But
Yeah, I don't know, man.
every so often I'll come up with a joke and I'll be like, "That's a good stand-up bit," and I'll write it down. And there's a couple of those I want to try.
Yeah, I think I'm just interested in making people laugh at this point, not necessarily even being like,
Well,
oh, I
that's
want to
good.
like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to like put pressure on myself to be like, man, I got to go out every
You have
week
to
and do this.
improve
And
and
yeah, man, like I just like I'm honestly interested in just make people laugh. But there was this lady, and I think you were with me, and she was like an older white lady at Mad Swede downtown, and she was like sitting up front, and I don't want to say her name. I think it was Angela, and she was like. In the crowd, she would like talk to the comedians. Like the comedian would say something, and she'd go, "That's funny." Like when nobody
I think
laughed.
I remember this.
You remember this lady?
I do,
and then she
yeah.
gets on stage and she goes, "Yeah, we're vibing."
I remember this.
Yeah, you guys know about vibing.
Just
look,
like yeah.
me and this guy right here, we're vibing. Nobody's laughing, dude. Like,
Yeah.
and I went, "Oh, this is so
'Cause
bad."
she was a bitch for everyone else's set. It's like, why are any of us gonna treat you good for yours?
looking at a comedian on stage saying a joke, nobody laughs, going, "That's funny."
We're vibing. Like the vibes in here are immaculate. Crazy good vibes.
Oh, Angela.
Hope she's doing okay.
So probably dead. Probably dead.
Probably. People die every day.
She hit too many bombs. You know.
She bombed one too many times. That's it. You
Um,
go home after not making anyone laugh at comedy. It's over.
That Kurt Cobain is coming for you, son.
That Kurt Cobain.
A shotgun in the mouth. What are the Mount Rushmore of adult cartoons, Drew? Let's go back to this.
Probably The Simpsons, Family Guy, Rick and Morty, and I don't know. I don't want to say American Dad because I feel like The Simpsons, Family. Oh, King of the Hill.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think that's a solid fucking
Because they watch
list,
King of
dude.
the Hill in like other countries.
And King of the Hill is a good show.
I've
Low
never
key,
seen it.
dude, during the pandemic when I was living in Seattle, King of the Hill was on repeat in my house, dude. Just all the seasons, all the time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I would actually, don't think I would make any changes to that list. I mean, obviously you have American Dad, that's the other one I was thinking of, and like Futurama. Like,
Sure.
That's the other one that I was kind of
Yeah,
like.
we'll throw Matt Groening in there too.
What do you think about South Park, though?
Good. My roommate watched a lot of South Park over this last year. And I watched a little bit of it, and I was like, yeah, it's like entertaining. I don't know, because like The Simpsons and Family Guy are just so immortalized in those two spots, you know. And then it's like I put Rick and Morty up there partially for my own enjoyment and partially because of this like it just has such a new life on the internet, you know. That American Dad, Family Guy, I mean Family Guy a little bit, but like Rick and Morty's internet culture is extreme.
Their following is cult-like. They definitely have a cult following.
Yeah, in the same way that, there's a lot of things with cult followings, especially in gaming. You'll see like a new game come out, and then everyone just like flocks to it, and then it's like you almost don't want to play that game because of the following that surrounds it. Like people, I know people who actively think Rick and Morty is a good show, but they don't want to watch it because they don't want to participate in that community. And it's like I kind of get that. You know?
Like being around the hype. Like it's hard to sometimes be around like the hype.
Yeah, you know. And if you engage with one thing on social media, then your algorithm is just gonna like hook into that and just feed you so much more. And then And then you basically feel like you're surrounded with it, even though you didn't do any more activities about it last week than you did this week. You know?
Right. But, like, even just with the internet culture thing, like, you can probably attest to this more, but I would just imagine, like, you know how in games you have skins?
Yeah.
You know? Like, how many Rick skins do you think are out there, like, in different games?
Well, it's hard to get licensing for that, you know?
Fair.
Because that's expensive. Fortnite has a Rick skin, you know? And Rick is going to be in Multiverses, this new fighting game that's coming out. It came out.
Multiverses.
Multiverses. You haven't heard of it?
Is it, like, based off of Rick and Morty? Because that's what Rick and Morty is about, right? It's, like, multiverse and...
It isn't. So it's basically, it's Warner Bros. They did a big fighting game. So it's got Scooby-Doo characters. It's got, oh, God.
Powder Puff Girls?
Not yet, but they're coming. Finn and Jake are in there. Rick and Morty is coming. They just put LeBron James in there.
Fuck yeah, dude. LeBron.
Because he was in
Space Jam 2.
Space Jam 2, yeah. So they put LeBron in there.
They got Bugs?
They got Bugs, yep.
Nice.
Daffy's on his way, I think. Tom and Jerry. Yeah.
That's pretty lit.
Arya Stark from Game of Thrones.
Is it like a Street Fighter type, like...
No, it's like Smash Bros.
Okay, that's pretty dope.
Yeah, it's like a platform fighter. So
Yeah,
you try to knock him off the stage. And yeah, it's like specifically catered towards 2v2s, which is cool.
Okay.
Not a lot of fighting games do like a specific 2v2 style. But there's like support characters, and you can buff each other's attacks. And you have cool, like LeBron can pass the ball to the other guy, and the other guy can like lay up for LeBron, and LeBron will dunk on the guy. It's funny.
Yeah, dunk on their ass. Nice, dude.
Yeah, it's cool.
What is your favorite fighting game ever? Smash?
Smash Bros. Yeah. I don't play a lot of fighting games, you know. I think it's Smash Bros, but Multiverses is still pretty young, so maybe
you ever play
it'll
Injustice?
start climbing. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I played Injustice 2.
Yeah, I think I played Injustice 2 as well.
It's a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman are in Multiverses as well.
Lit.
Yeah.
Lit.
It's got a good roster. Yeah. Yeah, Injustice was cool. The 2D fighting style I could never really get my head around. I want to get Street Fighter 6. It's like rumored to come out next year. So I want to get Street Fighter 6 and get like a gamepad, it's called a fight stick is what it's called, and it's like this big arcade style, just like box buttons, and then like a arcade style joystick, and that's how a lot of people play like Street Fighter and stuff. So I want to get like a really nice fight pad, but I need a PC before that.
Sounds like just like an upgraded version of a joystick and stuff, like from the back of the day, or like even like arcade games, like you know.
Yeah, it's just a different style of like a typical controller, you know. Like you can play Street Fighter on a controller just as well as a fight stick, but
yeah, totally.
Fight sticks, yeah, that's like the classic style of how you play those fighting games. Yeah.
Shout out to Jack Johnson, who is the best Street Fighter 5 player I've ever met in my entire life. Except for when David whooped his ass one night.
There you go.
This episode is brought to you by our Patreon, patreon.com/Fehr the Burn. Still, we have, guess how many patrons, Drew?
4.
0.
Still
got 0, baby, but it's okay.
Hurts.
We're going to keep rocking it. This episode's also brought to you by Eastman Fitness and Boxing in Centerville, Utah. Go down, check out Darian. He is a USA certified boxing coach, and he will get your hands right. He's got a fight coming up this weekend in Salt Lake City, Utah. He's an amateur MMA fighter, and he is currently 1-1-1.
There you go.
So he's going to be, after this fight, 2-1-1.
Hopefully.
Yeah, bro. So go down there, Eastman Fitness Boxing, patreon.com/Fehr the Burn. Drew, can we get into a bit of heavier stuff here?
Sure. Let's dive in.
Why? Okay, so this is Fehr the Burn, right? You're making your first appearance.
Yeah.
On this podcast, we talk about Christ, corruption, and culture.
Okay.
So I feel like we've talked about culture quite a bit.
Sure.
Video games, things like that,
Sure.
Rick and Morty. My question for you, Drew, is why did you shave your head?
Mostly because I wanted to. You know, I was, there was this one day in Port Angeles, and I'm not quite sure what this has to do with Christ, but I'm sure we'll get there.
It might have something to do with corruption.
Okay. There's this one day in Port Angeles where I was driving around and I went to like 4 or 5 different haircut places and they were all booked for like the whole day. And I was like, this was like a small town moment because there's like 5 barbers total in Port Angeles and that's a tiny ass town.
Yeah.
So
Surprising number of barbers though.
yeah. I didn't have any appointments that day though. And I went home and my hair was pissing me off. I can't remember why. And so what I had done before was just take my razor and put like the largest blade on it and then just give myself like a 2 all around.
Mm-hmm.
Looks fine, like a crew cut. And so I did that and then I started to like I was getting like creative and I was like cleaning around my ears on the 0. And I like nicked a little bit too much of it and I was like, fuck it. So then I just kind of went all the way and now I'm bald. And I like it. I think it fits me really well.
You know, yeah, I think you look really good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I was worried about you when I saw that you posted that you shaved your head.
You thought I had like a mental breakdown.
Thought you had some sort of like existential mental crisis.
Yeah, that doesn't typically happen for me, you know.
Like shaving your head isn't associated with that?
No.
Or just having mental crises?
Having mental crises, yeah. That doesn't happen to me very often.
I think it's fair to say, though, that if you move to a new place a couple of months in, if your friends just like, shave my head, like, it could be like, oh, my God.
Oh, yeah, call
because that's
for
what
help.
happened to me. You know what I mean? And maybe I'm just putting myself onto it, but.
Well, yeah, so part of it was like an accident. I wanted a change, and it's nice to be able to do things without my parents. My parents are, I love them to death. They're very supportive, but they're also kind of like silently judgmental. And so I feel like if I had done this kind of thing when I was at home, I would have gotten like 80 questions about it rather than if they find out later, this is how my hair's been for a couple months, less questions because they don't have the same mindset as you. Well, or rather they would have the same mindset where it's like, is this a cry for help? Is he doing okay mentally?
What's going on?
Yeah, exactly. But this isn't like some Britney Spears meltdown thing. This is just because I shaved it one day and I liked it. So I think I'm going to keep it shaved for a little bit.
And it was kind of a result of nicking yourself a little bit too much, right? Where you were just like, fuck it, yeah.
Well, yeah, sure.
Did you think subconsciously you knew?
Things.
You knew you were going to go super short?
No, I didn't think I knew I was going to go like bald. Because I had gone, like I said, pretty short before. And once I did it, I was like, yeah, this fits me. Like, I like it. So
nice.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. So, Drew, you grew up Mormon.
I did.
Right?
Yep.
How was, to me, I always felt like you were caught between like two worlds of like growing up LDS and also being like a coda.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think you kind of told me that before too, where you were like a lot of the deaf people around. Can you say what a coda is?
So a coda is a child of a deaf adult, CODA.
Yeah.
And
Both
that's
your
what
parents?
I am. My mom is hard of hearing, and my dad is profoundly deaf. And so I grew up learning sign language and English synonymously, and I use it every day.
And do you think that like you were closer with your friends who were also codas, or your friends who were also LDS?
So that's interesting because my only friends for a long time were LDS, and so I had very good friends who were LDS and codas, and then very good friends who were LDS. Didn't have a lot of friends who weren't LDS, just because that's the way that the culture is like broken down, And my best friend for a long time, his name was Adam. He was a coda, and we kind of bonded because we were in the same like first grade class, and we went to the same church, but we met at a deaf event. And so that's when we realized that we were both codas. And that's when we really bonded. And he was my best friend until, like, about middle school. So, like, my friends were LDS and coda, but only by nature of I didn't talk to anybody else.
Did something happen in middle school that made you guys not be, like, super friends anymore?
Well, no, he just went to a different school than me. And so we just drifted apart, He went to Compass Charter, I think. And I was still in public school, so so we just drifted apart. And we still follow each other on Instagram, and he's gay now, and
Nice.
so I know, right?
Everyone's gay or trans, man. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, did you like for me growing up in church, I was super invested in it. Like serving all the time, really trying to learn the scriptures, really like diving in. And granted, I thought I was going to be a pastor. Like, how was your experience as far as the actual like church side of being LDS?
So, my parents never really took it seriously, and I'm grateful to them for that. We always like went devoutly, but we would never like talk about the lessons later in the day, you know? It was never like, well, what'd you learn at church? Oh, I love that story of Noah because it really represents the love of Christ and blah, 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 blah. Like, we never did any of that stuff. It was always just like, we went to church. And for me, it was all about the social aspect. We went to church because our friends were there. And
Right.
why else would we go to church, you know? I was really invested, and my mom was a big part of this too. I remember growing up in scouting because my mom really wanted me to be in scouting, so she became like a junior scout leader.
Okay.
Right when I entered scouts, so my mom was one of my scout leaders, and this was in Cub Scouts too. This was when I was like a bear and a wolf or whatever. I can't quite remember.
How old are you around this time?
Like 10 and 11.
Okay.
So I was pretty young. Because when you hit 12, you can become a Boy Scout, and that's when you can do all the old kid stuff. And so I became 10, and at that point I was very invested in scouting. And scouting and the church were both they went hand in hand at this point, you know, because the church is obviously very invested in the Boy Scouts, and the Boy Scouts obviously get a lot of their money from the Mormon Church. And so there's a very kind of there's a very symbiotic relationship between those two organizations. And so I was very invested in being a Boy Scout, not so much being invested in the church. And right when I started going to Boy Scout camp, I realized, oh, you can be a Boy Scout without being involved in the church. And that was also about the same time that my whole family was like, yeah, we're not going to church anymore. So, see ya. And so we stopped going to church, and I was still a Boy Scout. And
So was that when you were around like 12?
no, that was probably 15.
Okay.
14 or 15.
So you're like mid-high school at that time?
Yeah, mid-high school. Yeah. Because my family decided we were not going to church when I was in 8th grade. And then I was still having, like, spiritual crises through, like, my freshman and sophomore year because still a lot of my friends were, of course, in the Mormon Church. And so I wanted to stay connected to them through that because the Mormon Church, it does look down on people that aren't in the church, you know. And so I feared, and this was a true fear, that if I left the church, those friends would stop talking to me, you know. And that did happen. And I'm only still, like, in contact with 2 or 3 of my friends who are still Mormon, you know. But
That sucks.
it is what it is, you know. Like, again, that was something that I knew would happen. That my whole family knew would happen when we left the church.
Did you have like a so I had a similar fear when I was leaving the church too. I was like, man, all these guys are like some of my really good friends, and like, I remember having a conversation with my best friend Alex, and I was like, dude, like, I'm kind of thinking about leaving the church. If I do, like, would you still be my friend? Right? And he was like, yeah, dude, of course. And I left the church, and then I didn't see him for 5 years. I mean, you know, I think that had to do with different things other than religion. But then, you know, obviously he's still a really good friend of mine. Sure. But did you have any like conversations with any of your friends, like about like, hey, like, if I leave?
Not necessarily that I can remember. I kind of weaned myself out of it pretty successfully because I had a lot of friends, and it was nice that I was having friends who were also questioning their faith at the same time. Mm-hmm. You know, because me and Brandon, who you know, we essentially left the church at the same time, and so it was nice because we were still in these friend groups, and these friend groups, while they were overtly Mormon, we kind of turned it into this thing where it was less about being Mormon and more about just being friends.
Right.
And so we kept a lot of our friend groups intact through that way. And I think by the time we did like officially leave, it was pretty clear that we weren't coming back. So not a lot of our Mormon friends were like trying to like pull us back into it. Obviously, if there was ever like a missionary moment, they would take it and they would use it, but it would always just go over our heads because they knew that we were done. So.
And you'd heard that shit your whole life, so
exactly. Just being like numb to that, just being like, yeah, whatever. Like I don't care. Sorry.
What do you kind of think about like life and creation, evolution, things like that? Like what do you sit with God and?
So that's a good question. I think I don't necessarily know if there's one omnipotent creature that knows everything and controls everything and makes all the decisions for us. I like to think that it's sort of dumb luck that we're here. And there's a lot of freedom in that, I think with that mindset, you can strip away a lot of morals. And that, I think, in many cases can lead to a happier life because you're not necessarily worried about your actions of other people. At the same time, I'm an empathetic person, I think that being empathetic is ingrained in our genealogy. And so 9 times out of 10, when you're in a situation where you can do something selfish or you can do something to benefit other people, I'm going to benefit other people, because I find joy in caring for other people. And, being an empathetic human being sets off the serotonin receptors in my brain or whatever. And so obviously I want to be a good person, and my morals, but I don't think that I necessarily need to shape my morals based off of what this book says.
Or this book or that book or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
Whatever religion you're talking about.
Yeah.
So when you say you can strip away morals, what does that mean for you? Like, if we're here by a dumb luck chance of some sort of evolution or whatever the fuck, or whatever, wonders of creation, what does that mean for you to, like, what morals do you think you live by, then?
So, I like to think of myself as having my own set of morals, and obviously that changes on a day-to-day basis, and I'll apply it to fit whatever perspective I need it to. But it's like I don't bound myself by the laws of legality, obviously. I don't think that the rules that our government set in place are necessarily the rules that we should be living by, you know? Obviously, sure. I'm not going to crank 90 on Eagle at 5 p.m. because I'm fucking going to crash into somebody, Like, that law is there for a good reason. But, I walked in and the first thing he did was hand me a joint. Mm-hmm. And we live in Idaho where that's not legal. And it's not like I was like, oh, sorry, man, I'm watching out for the law today. Like, that's not part of my morality, my moral compass, And so I just think that it's important to be flexible with ourselves and understanding that, well, people change and situations change. And sometimes what might be right in one situation is going to be wrong in another situation. Vice versa also applies. So I just don't. I don't think that there are any like specific rules that I need to bind myself to.
Right.
Because I'm my own person, I'm not worried about if I'm going to go to heaven or hell when I die, because I presume when I die, I'm going to be happy because I treat other people nicely. Mm-hmm. And, I think the golden rule still applies and the golden rule also interestingly exists in many different religions, Buddhism, Muslims, even though treat others the way you would like to be treated is kind of like a Christian phrase, that idea exists in all world religions. And so
in pretty much every religion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not exactly a religion where it's like, if you are evil, good things will come to you. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not common, at least not in a Western society.
Yeah, dude. And I mean, I'm not like a Christian. Like, I'm not someone who's going to be like, fucking,
thou shalt
the
not.
Bible is the way, like, we're going to do a whole series on this podcast called Bible Secrets coming up, like, during the next school year, that, like, we're really going to dive into the Bible and show a lot of Christians, or attempt to show a lot of Christians, like, what the fuck is actually in this book, and what's in this book is some crazy shit that's hidden from you, that's in plain sight that you're not seeing, like the fact that the Bible may or may not talk about a flat earth, like all sorts of shit, man.
Wow.
So I feel that too. I think that the most important thing is like, I'll use the Christian vernacular for it, but it is like treat others, the way you want to be treated, or the Christian vernacular is like love your neighbor as yourself. Like that's all it is.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just like,
Yeah.
and the whole thing with Christianity on that is it's just like love God, love people, which to me, I kind of think you can expand to whatever God means for you. Love that God. And
So
to me, it's like goodness.
So you apply the 10 Commandments to your daily life in that case?
No, because I don't think that if we really want to get into the weeds of it, I don't think the 10 Commandments are still like the covenant that Jesus set up with us. Jesus came and he said that he was coming to like make a new covenant with humanity, that he didn't come to abolish the law but to fulfill it. So like in ancient Christianity, they had like 666 laws that Jews still have to follow, 616, I think. And even when questioned about it, when someone's asked Jesus, they said, what is the greatest commandment? He said that it's to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. And then he goes, well, like, what does that mean? And Jesus essentially says, and this is in Matthew 19, if anyone wants to look it up, he says, do not commit murder, do not steal, do not commit adultery, honor your mother and your father, do not steal. There's like 6 laws, and it's like don't steal, don't murder, don't lie, honor your mother and your father, and shit like that. So that's kind of what I try to base my life off of.
Just
is like
loving other people.
Yeah, and like Jesus goes into more of that too, where it's like, what does it mean to murder? And it's like a lot of people think that to murder is to like actually murder somebody, but Jesus says that like to be even angry in your heart at your brother is murder. Like we've had a couple instances in our life where we've been quite furious with each other.
Yeah.
And in those moments, I think that we. Not necessarily. I think murder is a crazy way to put it, but like we tried to like annihilate each other with our words. And with the spirits, you know what I mean? Like, you're coming at each other fucking hot.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not really what life is about. Like, life is about connection and communicating with people in a way that's respectful and tolerant. You know what I mean? I think that's what Jesus said, too. So, and the thing is, nobody fucking knows. And that's always what you got to say. You got to be like, listen, I don't fucking know.
This is an old-ass book.
And everything is old as fuck, and nobody knows shit. Nobody knows shit. And everyone is guessing. Religion is probably, in my opinion, people's best guess at creating something out of fucking nothing. Because we have this wild world and we're like, well, what the fuck does it mean? And what is this? And what is that? And when they, write these books or other people write these books and they read them, they're like, oh my God, I'm getting some sort of knowledge from God. And it's like.
But you do believe in God.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you where I don't think God is the God of the Bible. Because I think that there were men throughout history, like creating the Roman Catholic Church, who set up doctrine before we even set up our Bible. So they were telling us what to think about God before we even created the books. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, to me, you need to look at everything that was written. And I'm talking Torah, I'm talking the Quran, I'm talking the Bible, I'm talking the Book of Mormon, I'm talking... even fucking, like, the missing books of the Bible, the books that were left out of the Bible. Like, I think that you should just take a look at everything and understand that God is just something that's really big that we can't understand.
That's fair.
And I've said all sorts of shit about God in this podcast. I've said God is not omnipotent, that God is not a mind. I've said that God is a mind. I've said all sorts of shit, so.
No through line.
No through line. 0. Well, the through line is that I change. That's fucking evolution of a human, baby.
It's deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. People change.
Yeah, man. I mean, what do you think is the most important lesson you've learned in your life so far, Drew?
The most important lesson that I've learned in my life so far.
We'll wrap it up here. We're gonna have a shorter episode this week.
All right.
I gotta get to a party here soon.
Going to your birthday party.
Yeah, not mine, but my nephew's.
Your son's.
Yep. My grandson's, actually. Thank you.
Oh, that's sweet.
I look great for my age.
You do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're looking old for 90.
32.
We'll get there. I don't know what the most important lesson is. I want to say, like, empathy is important and love people. But I don't necessarily agree with that all the time, because I think you do need to be selfish to be an effective human being. So, oh God, most important lesson I've learned. I don't know. Look out for people. If you see someone that you can help, just help them. You know, good will come.
And what is a lesson that you are still trying to learn?
How to budget.
That's real shit, dude.
I can't save a dime to save my life.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
That's real shit.
I moved back and I don't have to pay rent while I live in my parents' house, and I've been spending money.
Be
like
careful.
a motherfucker.
Be careful, motherfucker.
Yeah, man.
Be careful.
Dangerous game.
It is dangerous, bro. Money is, some would say money is the root of all evil. Some would say that money is the greatest vice. I say, blow it.
I'm with you there.
I say fucking blow it, dude. Fuck it. Throw it all out. I've heard that if you grew up poor, you're terrible with money.
You got to spend money to make money, right?
You got to spend money to make money.
Exactly.
That's Gary Vee, baby.
I'm making the most money there is.
Drew's making the most money.
Because I'm spending all of it.
Fuck yeah. He's going to buy Big Al's. Thank you so much for listening, guys. I really appreciate it. This has been episode, I believe, 39 of Fehr the Burn. Again, head out to our Patreon, patreon.com/Fehr the Burn. And Darian, you can be the first. It's $5. That's it. That's
$5.
$5, and I'm going to start doing 15-minute podcasts of me in a Speedo. So if you want to send me Speedos or see that,
if you want to see that,
go to patreon.com/Fehr the Burn. Thanks so much, Drew, for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
We'll get you in again before I leave, probably one or two more times. So
okay,
it'll be all good. Sweet, man. Thanks, guys. Love you. Bye, bitches.
I take this life too serious to watch it pass me by. I'm awake, I'm aware, not delirious. This is me and it feel right. I'm a star in the waiting area. This era is my prime. I'll pack the load, I'll carry ya if I can find the time.
This kinda feels like basement eyes. Philosophize my life, but green on vaporize. I hate my life. When I sleep in, I'm keeping my secrets close to my heart. You'll have to kill me to get me goofing, geeking. I'm seeking out greatness, but the cost is my regular likeness leaking out like some unwanted nudes. I face unwarranted and unwanted dues. I feel like I'm facing time to face my passion.